That was mean. You guys, what is happening right here is that this adorable kitten is eating her hair. It's attacking her live right in front of you guys. And it is, she said they have it, it has a home.
Yeah, he does. Ooh. Thank God.
You guys are pouring on in here. I am so excited for that. What a beautiful panel of people and cats. We have our special needs panel coming up, our group of people who dedicate their entire lives. And when I say entire lives, I mostly mean sleep and money to their cats, because if you have ever bottle raised anything, you know that you don't get sleep. And you know, kittens, they'll tell you kittens are 50-50 when you're raising them, right? Like cats are a heartbreaking group. And so what these folks are doing, saving kitty lives, TNR, just making the world know that special needs pets have a place in hearts and homes is, I don't even want to talk about it anymore because I'm gonna cry. And speaking of crying, the only reason I am here right now is number one, to tell all of you beautiful, wonderful people goodbye. I am dipping out. This is it for me. Ellen is taking over from here. I love you. Thank you all for being here. I can't even tell you how exciting this summit has been, but this summit has been all about benefits. And the benefit of this has been learning and making connections to make healthier, happier lives. And there is no one out there making better, happier, healthy lives for cats than Miss Ellen Carozza, the cat vet tech. Happy Vet Tech Week, Miss Ellen. It is the kickoff of Vet Tech Week. And so I am ready to give you the biggest Vet Tech Week prize I could possibly imagine giving you. Our amazing, outstanding, fantastic, fabulous individuals who attended this conference this weekend has raised a total of $6,000 for the Chris Griffey Memorial Feline Fund. $6,000. That's a lot of little nuggets, I have to say.
Goodness. I am so appreciative. These cats really do mean a lot to everybody. And this kind of support that we're getting from Basepaws and from you guys who all joined doing this really shows the veterinary community that these cats matter, and we need to really evolve in what we're doing in veterinary medicine to make these cats have the best quality of life possible.
Okay, well, I'm going to turn my camera off, but I'm going to go ahead and sob. I am so proud to be here, be a part of this, be a part of you guys. I will be sitting back and watching. I'm turning it over to Ellen and all of these beautiful, amazing folks who are going to have a conversation about their special needs kitties.
Right. Well, happy Vet Tech Week to you too, Becky. I really appreciate you hosting us. And I am really appreciative of having everybody on my panel. Bear with me while I open up my little paper here so I can introduce you to everybody who is joining us today. Everybody who is on the panel, you will know that they have a very special guest with them. They will have a kitty cat, and they might be able to tell you about their kitty cats as well today. So I just want to thank Basepaws again, the pioneers in feline genetics. I've been working very closely with them with a couple of our own cats, including the incredible Petable Egbert and Francis, and hope to get some answers about what's going on with these guys. And of course, all the speakers, you guys came through an entire weekend to help us support the Chris Griffey Memorial Feline Foundation. We cannot do our work without your support. Thank you so much. And of course, to the attendees. We love having you. We love educating you. That's what we do in veterinary medicine. We love to educate and take care of your pets so you guys can have a full circle of life with them in all stages. We're talking all the way from the neonates, from moment zero to the day that they do pass on. We want to see everybody have a high quality of life. And I can't express how grateful we are for all of the funding that has been raised. That means we get to assist more kittens in the future and maybe evolve our medicine a little bit better and share it with our veterinary associates and they can do the same things that we do. We have a great outcome with our patients, and we want you guys to have the same outcome as well. Now, as far as my guests go, I have a bunch of them, and these are all guests that I personally No. Either you have a foundation alumni, or maybe I just know you on a personal level because I have helped you before. But I can't express my gratitude enough that you guys are here sharing this moment with me, because when Basepaws asked me to get some panelists, you were the first ones that popped into my head, because you really do truly give back to the community. And I wanted you to share your story with everybody else, because I feel it's important not for people just to see the stories coming from veterinary medicine from our aspect, but from the trials that you have gone through, how you've advocated for these special babies, and how you have overcome and actually worked with the veterinary community to be successful with these animals. So thank you so much for being here. So we're going to go to Patti, who is actually a client of ours at Nova Cat Clinic. And every single Friday, she writes with Garfield, the big OC, Fridays with Garfield, which is like our Friday highlight. We can be having the worst week in the world, and all of a sudden Fridays with Garfield pops up into our emails, and the day suddenly gets better. But what you should know about Patti is that she is a full-time volunteer. She is retired, but she volunteers full-time for King Street Cats and all feline non-kill rescue in Alexandria, Virginia. How many kittens does she always have? She always has too many kittens. Every single time she calls the office or sends me a picture, it's like, oh no, now what does she have? And then it's some medical little oddity or some kitten that really needs that attention that somebody else won't give to them. Well, we're going to come through for Patti. So she is usually the go-to in the area for these special needs kittens. But also about Garfield, not only is he a full-time philosopher about life in the feline world, he's also a foundation blood donor. He's one of our heroes, and he's actually donated blood to several of Patti's kittens this year, and they look fantastic, and they're going to be getting adopted very soon. So thanks for being with us, Patti. I really appreciate it. And is that Tilly or Tessa?
It's Tessa.
Well, Tessa came with a double enucleation along with her sister Tilly, and they just recently got spayed as well. And what are they going to be adopted soon?
Yeah, their spay is actually the end of the month, and then probably about 2 weeks after that they'll be up for adoption. But nobody told them they're blind, and I'm not going to.
Right, they're amazing. Thanks for being aboard with us. And the next person I have that I want to introduce everybody to is, excuse you, not you. Everybody knows Horseshoe, right? AKA U-turn, AKA get off my panel right now. He's a troublemaker. So Kim is actually one of the Chris Griffin Memorial Feline Foundation's super fosters. I cannot do my work without her. I think she's fantastic. She is willing to take on so many special needs kittens that we have. Anybody in a diaper, she willingly raises her hand. She can have 5 kittens of ours, and I say, oh, look at my new kitten I got. Oh, does he need a foster? Super foster, because you'll have so many kittens in the house all at once, including the space babies recently, and Orion and Nessie. And we still have a couple of kittens that are still available with the space babies. They need to be adopted. And she also has a bachelor's in human nursing, but she does fostering full-time for us. And I'm just floored by the amount of dedication you have for these special babies, especially the ones that you're just willing to, I'll take on that animal and take care of.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well,
I have Kepler.
My guest. Thank you so much. That's he's still up for adoption, right?
Yep, he is. He's kind of Batman in his spare time, but he is a crazy cat. He loves to be held like a baby, and he's just very affectionate and docile. But yeah, he's one of the leftover space babies that we have.
Somebody adopt him. We need to get him adopted out. And then, so going on our panels, because I do want to have time to talk to everybody and for everybody tell their stories, is I have Tara and Mira and Mickey. And Tara has Mira the Miracle Kitty, who has a plethora of congenital defects. And she has also adopted one of our Chris Griffin Memorial Feline Foundation alumni cats, AKA Trombo Shorty. But now he is named Mickey. And unfortunately, he just fractured his leg the other day.
Aw.
Yeah.
So this is what happens. This is, we have these special kittens. They're always going to have a problem throughout life. And then you have this amazing human that has decided to adopt this special needs cats. And they know something is always going to be a must with them. Whether it's a couple weeks after you adopt them or a year down the road, etc. These are the things that we actually expect when we adopt an animal that has special needs. You signed up for this, and we couldn't be more grateful for having you take him on, because he is such a special case. And you also have other animals with special needs as well. So kudos to you for being that person that goes out and actually seeks to adopt these animals that really need that additional care.
They're amazing. I honestly, I couldn't imagine. I can't imagine adopting a quote unquote normal cat again, honestly.
They do. They always, I honestly think the special needs cats are kind of cooler in a way. Like,
I totally
not
think
that they have
cool.
something to talk about, but like, I feel like they really do give back more in like the personality and love department. Like, they know that you've helped them, and then you build a different bond with them. Is maybe is what I want to say. They're building a different bond.
100%. Absolutely. Mickey's a little mama's boy and a little suck, but he's also my devil child. So thanks for that.
Yes, and the videos of him going up and down the stairs absolutely shows it, because his disabilities do not stop him whatsoever. He doesn't know that he has any disabilities. To him, that's his normal.
And that's how he broke his leg.
Yeah,
because he's fearless,
and unfortunately, that's what's going to happen.
Doesn't have a clue. And and then Mira is just my sweet little angel face.
She is so very sweet. I love seeing her pictures every single day. So now going on down our list even further, we have the dynamic duo from Queens, New York, representing New York here, along with they're my family away from home, by the way, people, if you didn't know this. I always feel like when I talk to them, I feel like I'm talking to family almost immediately. But they are the dynamic duo of TNR Utopia. And they are a small, no-kill, all-volunteer, nonprofit 501c3 organization in Queens, New York, on the trap, neuter, and return cycle for community cats. And what they are, they also help the community cat caretakers. They educate, they support. Michelle does all these special needs and neonate babies now. I mean, you guys have an incredible resource for the community. And you're in such a small area, but you make such a dynamic impact. So I want to thank you for being part of this panel today to give your viewpoint from going from trap, neuter, return, all the way to having these special babies that actually come into your homes, and then you actually finding homes and adopting them back out.
Okay, yeah, no, we'd love to share that. It's great.
A lot, for us, it's so much harder just because, we never know when we go out and do trap, neuter, return, what we're going to get, so we're focused with, we're faced with so many different things at any given time, that it's not just about, the trap, neuter, return, which is our primary focus, but it becomes so much more than that, especially with these special needs cats, because sometimes we just get them in such, conditions that they just need that extra help,
Right. And you guys have had a difficult year with a lot of your babies, watching you through Instagram and stuff. It's a story after story after story of like, oh, now what did they get? This is going to be interesting for the outcome.
We found ourselves, like a lot of you, home a lot more this year. And we weren't doing a lot of TNR because the spay neuter clinics were closed, the vets were closed. So we kind of shifted our resources and time to helping critical neonates and special needs cats because we were home, and Michelle was able to provide, and I always say Michelle because I don't do it, the round the clock care. And so we really were able to shift our resources this year since we were home so much and working from home.
Did you prefer that this neat shift that you're actually doing more with the cats at home, or you're like, please give me a break for a little bit?
I was born to work from home. I was born to work from home. But it was hard not doing TNR because we knew so many cats were being born outside. That was a big, all over the country, but in New York City especially, I feel like we were set back months, if not years, of our work with community cats. But yeah, I mean, the cats that we saved this year would not have been alive if we were not working from home.
I loved it. You know, it's great. I always try to like sneak in a cat from work or I tell my boss like, I'm coming in with the cat or I'm taking a day off, you know? So it was nice that I could just like work from home, but also, you know, give supportive care to a kitten every hour because I was home, you know? So I loved it. It was great for me.
Good. And then we go all the way from the north. We're all the way going to go down the south, all the way to Danielle, one of my good friends who runs Central Florida Fosters. I actually feel like she's family too. At the moment that we actually met in person, we just like really clicked, and now we actually talk to each other on the phone quite frequently. And now I'm like, I have another friend to talk to on the phone, because normally I'm not a phone person. I'm like one of those texters now. But she's like the one I'm like, oh, I had a bad day. I got to call Danielle up and talk to her because she'll understand where I'm coming from. She is a feline neonate extraordinaire as well, and a kitten advocate for those Florida kittens. And if you guys don't know, Florida really has a big problem, as they are considered year-round kitten season. And especially with the resources and stuff that are there, well, kittens in Florida really aren't represented very well. And so Danielle works with numerous private and government rescues and shelters, as well as members of the community, to get these kittens the necessary medical care that they need, especially for the ones that have severe chronic and genetic illnesses that, you know, they need to have a veterinarian see them. But where do we take them to? How do we advocate for them? How do I teach somebody else to advocate them? So she's always my go-to person when we have something going on in the Florida area. I'm always punching people towards her direction, say she would be your great resource down there. And so thanks for being on the panel as well.
I have a problem. I need help. Please help me.
Well, thanks for being aboard. I really appreciate you coming today. You're going to give your perspective on how you take care of these kittens. Now to start, since you know we had spent all this time telling everybody about the amazing things you guys do, when it comes to the special needs kittens, and kittens suddenly in the past, I would say 5 years, the whole cat internet has really exploded, and you will see thousands upon thousands of accounts of rescues and kittens and look at my cat, etc. How do you guys deal when you see misinformation being given out there on Instagram, especially when you guys really focus on education and care? Do you just stay in your little bubble, or you're just like, wait a second, we're going to have to take a step back and figure out what's going on? Or do you just say, I have to do better on my end? Does anybody want to answer that one?
I mean, I'll go if no one else wants to yet. I mean, I think for me, like for anybody that does follow my page, I'm a big believer that everything that happens to you in fostering and in rescue is a lesson. Anything from how somebody comes in to how somebody is leaving your care, whether that's adoption or, you know, sometimes a not so happy ending. I think that everything is a learning experience. And I think that it's important for Eggs just like staring at you. And that it's important for us as rescuers to kind of spread the knowledge that we know and that we learn. And if there is misinformation out there, I think that we have an opportunity more than anything else to help correct that and to say, hey, you know, you said this, where did you learn that? Because sometimes it's not even that that's just their opinion. It's actually, for example, like up at shelters and things like that, sometimes all the way from the top, there's this misinformation that's just trickling down, and you get all of these fosters from one, you know, rescue or something. You're like, what are you doing? No, where did we learn this? And, you know, whether it's neonates or special needs, I think that we see that a lot. And to me, we have an obligation and an opportunity to fix that from the start and use the platforms that we have all built and the rescues that we have and people that we know to educate and to get better information out there so we can do better as a community.
Anybody else have anything to add to that?
I know when I get comments about Mira or Mickey,
right, and you were under fire recently with one person that decided to pick on you big time, basically telling you to kill your animals. How did that make you feel?
I was ready to kill that person. It was horrifying, like actually gut-wrenching. That person created, I think, more than 12 accounts in a matter of 2 weeks. But the police are involved with that now, so hopefully they'll be found, and they've since stopped. But when people make comments or assumptions about my guys, like I'm not quick to lash out at them, because some of them are pretty horrific sometimes. People just don't understand, right? And they think, what's the point? Why do you have an animal like that? Why are you doing that? Like, get something that actually moves and works. So I try not to get angry at those people, and just kind of go at it from a different perspective, and just kind of just bring the awareness to them that, yeah, if you look at previous posts and you look at her now or look at him now, you can see that they're actually living very fulfilled lives, and they're amazing. So it's just, I think, coming at them from a different perspective and not lashing out. Like I've seen a number of accounts lash out at people that do that. So I think there's kind of a better way to get
right. Remain the professionalism where you can, and educate in other aspects of it.
Yeah.
I agree with Tara. We try to lead by example, and you'll see our social is always very positive and informative and happy. And we get sad things happen. We post about that too, but we always try to, every post should have a lesson. People take something away from each post.
Yeah, but you guys definitely have a benefit on that, because you guys are in the education system, and I'm always so impressed when I see your stuff. I'm like, man, they are like on it, and it's always so professional and stuff. And then I remember, I'm like, oh yes, they're in the education system. They are going to be like on top of this, like anything. And I'm always so amazed by it, and it's very inspiring every time I see one of your posts.
Oh, thanks, Ellen. That means a lot.
Listen, and it's important. Everyone, most of us who are doing this kind of work all have other jobs,
Yeah.
And listen, there's something you can bring to every profession that you can bring into this world, and just using that the best you can is really helpful, just to help in any way, and help animals and cats, and whatever you feel passionate in.
And that's my favorite lesson to share with people, is that we're just like them. We have full-time jobs, we have bills to pay, but we, on nights and weekends, we trap cats and rescue kittens. I mean,
Right. And you guys make it look like it's absolutely doable, which it is, as long as you want to put like the effort into it.
Exactly. You have to choose to do it, right?
Yeah, like I work shift work, and I come home on my lunches to take care of my guys and change a diaper, and I mean, now my dog is almost 16 years old, so he's and got dementia, so I got to look after him as well. So middle of my shift, I fly home and take care of them and go back to work. Like it's doable things that people don't think about. They don't think they have the time for it, but if they give it some thought, they actually do.
Right. Patti, how do you manage? I mean, you always have like a house full of cats, and then you go and you volunteer full-time at the shelter.
Right at the moment, I think I have 12 cats in the house. And there's 3 blind ones, the 2 little lagging behind ones, and an assortment. But it's a matter of believing that they have a right, and we have a responsibility to give them their best chance. There's no reason, whether it's like Mickey or Tessa, just because there's something some people consider wrong with them, doesn't mean they're not entitled to a life and love. And they are, like you said before, they are the most affectionate, sweetest cats. The CH kittens that I've had have been some of the most remarkable cats I've ever met. And I wouldn't trade them for anything.
Do you find it's hard to get them adopted out, your kittens, when they have these special needs, or do you find that those are the ones that you get more interest in?
We get a lot of interest through the shelter in our special needs cats. We've rarely had a special need cat or kitten in the shelter very long. Langston is back. His adoption didn't work out, so he's back with us, and he's struggling a little bit, but we'll find the right place for him. And it's, it's like any relationship. Sometimes they work out, and sometimes you break up and start over. So but the blind kittens in particular, I have found people kind of clamor for them.
Kim, how do you feel about this? Since all you do now, I feel like I just dump my special needs babies on you all the time. I don't want to say the word I dump them on him. I'm like going, would you like to do these kittens? Because like, I will fully admit, running a foundation, working full time and taking care of my bunch and having to deal with Egbert was almost to the point of too much. And so you took on a lot of these cats for me. How does it feel that every single time that when we gave you one of these kittens, did you feel like each kitten that you just got that better? Or was every single kitten different and you learned something new when dealing with these special needs?
I think that every single one was a little bit different, but I did learn something new with each kitten, special needs kitten that we adopted. We had Fiona at first, that was the diaper kitty. She could walk, but she just didn't have control of her bowel or bladder. So we got used to taking her on vacations with us. She became our original backpack kitten. And unfortunately, she did become sick before she was adopted, and she did pass, which was devastating in our family. We really took it hard. I had Nessie for a little bit before she went to California to her new home. And then our latest paralyzed diaper kitty was Orion. And he went to North Carolina with us. We hiked Grandfather Mountain. We went to Tennessee, down into the Tuscaloosa Caverns. Probably the only cat that has ever been down in a cavern before, but we just took him everywhere with us. And it was almost easier than having a quote unquote normal cat, because they're a little bit more portable, I guess I could say. We didn't have to deal with litter boxes. They, kind of are very calm, I think, sat in the backpack. Orion did get adopted recently, which was also very devastating to us because we had fallen so much in love with him. But his new foster family is amazing. They have adapted their lives for him. He has a brother cat and a sister dog. They even created a little handicap accessible box for him to go into, because he could not jump into the box like his brother cat. So they just created a little hole so that he still got to experience that box time and got to go in the box like a cat loves to do. The one thing I will say, we did have a lot of people when we were traveling on vacation that were so shocked, for one, that we were carrying a cat in a backpack everywhere that we went, and two, that he was paralyzed. And they were so shocked that he had not been euthanized. And one lady in particular said to us, like, "Oh, I feel so bad for him."
Oh, baby, I'm sorry.
And I said, "Why? He's having a great life. Like, he is happy, he's healthy, he runs everywhere. He's going on vacation to places that cats usually don't go to. And he doesn't know that he's any different. He plays and jumps and goes up and down the stairs like my normal abled cats do. And he doesn't realize that he's different. So don't feel sorry for these kittens. Adopt one, foster one, donate to a rescue, anything to help these kittens that normally don't get a chance in normal shelters."
Now, going on the aspect of, the kittens that, they all deserve to be adopted. You go back to the people who, they feel bad for them, they should be euthanized, etc. How do you guys feel when you take one of these babies to your veterinary office and you're always told that nothing can be done or the diagnostics are impossible? And yet here at my foundation, we make that impossible very possible. How do you feel that veterinary medicine needs to listen or evolve to you guys more so these cats can get better care?
Well, I know I can answer that right now from what just has happened with Mickey when he broke his leg the other night and I took him to the emergency vet. First of all, they'd never seen a cat like him before. So they didn't know how to deal with him. They didn't do anything for him. They just said, okay, we'll talk to the vet in the morning, the day shift vet, because that vet knows more about bones and maybe more about these kind of cats. And so here's some pain meds and here you go. So then I waited on Friday, and I'm waiting for the phone call, and finally, by noon I freak out and call them back. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, his leg is literally dangling here. Like, what am I doing with my child? And
Right.
they don't know what to do with them. So then they just said that they're going to refer him to a specialist. And I literally just called the specialist right before this summit just to see where we were at, since it's the holiday weekend here. And
Great. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Thanks. Yeah, not so happy this year, but
No.
yeah, they said, oh, surgical is waiting for 2 weeks for surgeries to happen.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, he literally has a dangling leg, and they're like, oh, they didn't stabilize it. They must have at least stabilized. I said, no, they left him hanging. So I am going in tomorrow morning as an emergency case so that maybe something can happen tomorrow and at least maybe he can get stabilized. But I find most vets absolutely, or at least around here, have never dealt with special needs. Like Mira, she is an absolute anomaly to every vet that we've seen. And I think she's seen about 7 or 8.
Right. But when you actually visit them and stuff like that, do they ever commend you on like, she has a great quality of life, keep doing what you're doing? Or do you ever get like negative feedback of like, why is she still here?
I more often than not, and with Mickey, the very first thing out of the vet's mouths are, you do realize that quality of life could be an issue here. And I'm like that was a month after Mickey came and he got constipated. So I took him in because we were playing with the doses of things still, trying to figure him out. And first thing out of her mouth, you realize quality of life is going to be an issue here. Like, you may want to get, and I'm like, I just adopted this boy knowing exactly what's wrong with him. And I'm going to give him the best life I can. So don't bring that up again, please. She leaves the room to do something, comes back, says the exact same thing. He's going to have issues like this all of his life, quality of life. Blah, blah. And I just grabbed him and I said, I've heard enough from you. And I walked out.
Right. Which is frustrating because this is something that I constantly hear through Instagram, private messaging, even through the foundation. A lot of rescues and other veterinarians will actually contact us with some really frustrating cases. And your stories are not uncommon at all. It's too common. And it shows that those of us in veterinary medicine, we really need to pay attention to you guys and evolve our practices, whether or not it's just thinking outside the box, trying instead of just letting these animals die, prove that they can actually have an enjoyable quality of life to the people who are going to put the effort into making them have that quality of life. And I think that's something that we all forget, is it the person who's actually fostering or adopting, you are all in when you have one of these special needs cases. And because you are that animal's advocate. I mean, every single one of you on this panel has been such a strong advocate for these special needs babies, all the way from Luz and Michelle. You guys came down to us in Virginia to do surgery on one of your neonates when nobody else would do it. And we're like, we'll do anesthesia on a 2-week-old baby. That's no problem. And we amputated her leg, so when I hear in veterinary medicine, like that's not possible. It's like, well, technicians and stuff, we know how to MacGyver, and we should be able to provide care regardless of size and age, because age is not a disease. And I think we tend to forget that when it comes to the neonates.
And I feel that a lot with Seb too. I mean, the amount of, when I first started talking to you about Seb back last November when I had him, I had pulled him from the rescue that we were with because they were kind of out of options for them. I had pulled him on my own. I talked to Ellen, and the first 3 vets that I went to told me that I should euthanize him. He had Jesus. I was told he's too young for an ultrasound. He's too young for this. He's too young for this. We can't give him this. We can't give him this. Well, I foster failed him. He's currently sitting in my bedroom where he's been all day living the life, and he's gone from a kitten that we had for 3 months before he would even hit a pound to he's 12.5 pounds. And I was just told that he needs to fight. Like, what, you know, you went from telling me that he's never going to make it, and exactly like quality of life, they told me that he wouldn't have a quality of life. We fixed it with diet. He didn't need surgery. He didn't need anything. I just needed somebody who would listen to me and who could get me the diagnostics for us to then do the rest.
Right. Right. And that's the common thing. You guys have to kind of keep hunting around and finding the right person, and then building that really good relationship with that veterinary group that's willing to go above and beyond for, you know, what's necessary, that they're going to use pharmaceuticals off label, which, you know, fun fact, most pharmaceuticals are off label on cats, and all pharmaceuticals are off label on the neonate. They just don't do studies on them that way. So, you know, the nice thing I will say about the foundation is, since we've been around for such a long time and doing the things we do, we're able to track cats like 8 to 10 years now, because they remain clients of ours, because I always adopt locally most of the time. Now we've been like shipping some a little further away. But we're able to follow these patients throughout the years, and we go, okay, we know you had doxycycline multiple times as a kitten. We're not seeing any issues with you with the cycline being used as a neonate. Antivirals, same thing. We, you know, we've been able to track these cats through and saying, you know, we're not seeing the typical what is supposed to happen with these drugs, the reactions into these animals. So whether or not we're dosing appropriately, and we're having the foster families actually treat the way we tell them to, and they follow through with it, that we are seeing more and more success cases. I mean, I have less than a 3% mortality rate with my foundation, because I have an amazing medical team that doesn't tell me no. They always go, what can we do to help you? And it's usually, you know, I'll give them my questions. We got these answers. And then sometimes we have to meet in the middle, because sometimes there's that debate there. But we'll always meet in the middle, and then everybody learns something out of it. And then we go, okay, now we know what to do for the next case and how to help one of the other veterinarians in the area. So it's really important that you guys have that relationship with your veterinary group, that once you have somebody, stay with them, because they're going to constantly learn from you. And then maybe one little pearl of wisdom out of every single case builds that confidence level up. And then maybe the next generation of veterinarians, which, you know, I have to say this, when I went to UC Davis a couple of years ago and I taught neonates over there just for a lecture, they had a whole cat group, like all the vets, they had their own little cat group. And I could not wait for them to go out into practice. And then a year later, when I was at AFP out in San Francisco, I had a couple of them come up to me and say, like, I was at your class, I graduated, and this is what I'm doing now. And they were so happy to share some of their critical cases that they had with neonates. And they're like, I'm actually putting this into practice. And it was the best feeling in the world to see somebody who is going to be a true full life veterinarian, all the way from the neonates, all the way to the time that maybe like in their 20s. And it was a really great feeling to see that happen. We just got to wait for the new generations to come on in. And then maybe everybody else will also actually listen to and be like, you know, maybe I really do need to evolve a little bit more, because these animals are becoming a more popular pet, more popular companion, I should say. And people really do care about them. I mean, they are, the, quote unquote, their children. I mean, we should be taking care of them. That's what we do in veterinary medicine. You're just not a pet. They're actually a family member, and we should be paying attention to that for you guys.
Ellen, the stuff that you share, it gives us talking points when we go to our vet, and it really helps push them. Because usually when we go to our vet, like we don't know what to ask. But if we get ideas from you, and then we can work with our vet as a partner, it really helps push that envelope. And the work that you and your foundation do, I mean, yeah, like you might never see the cats that you help, but like it makes a difference.
I always am so proud when every time I see somebody's post, I'm like, oh, they contact us about this. I'm so happy to see how well they're doing. And I'm like, I walk around the hospital with my phone going, do you remember this cat that we talked about? And blah, 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 blah. Let me show you the photos of him now. Look at Rainbow. Like, she finally doesn't have to wear that stupid bandage anymore because she wouldn't leave her stitches alone. You know?
And Rainbow was the first of, we've had 2 tripod kittens like within the last couple of months. And, even with Stevie, we still have him, but even with him, I had gotten him from another rescue who needed some help. And I was like, I'll try, and even then, I feel like their original vet thought he didn't really put much care into his leg or what was going on. And he also had calicivirus, which I fought through that. But either way, he didn't put much care into his leg. And I feel like it was because he just figured he wasn't going to make it, and I was like so angry about that, because it's like, yeah, look at him. He's crazy. Did
you feel that you were, when you were told that, did you feel like he didn't even give a chance, or like he was just,
there's
a subtle way. I want to say, like in medicine, though, there's a subtle way of them not wanting to tell you that they're uncomfortable with the situation, or someone who's willing to be like, I need to send you to somebody else. I have no idea what we're doing here.
No,
they don't want to disappoint you.
No, they were like, another vet, so not our vet, but basically told the rescuer, hey, just, we're going to wrap him up. Come take him back. We'll bring him back in 4 weeks. And,
he was declining.
He was he had colici, so I got him through that, and I was like, I'm not sure about this leg. This is not okay.
So we went to our vet,
and then we went to our vet, and thankfully she was like, nope, it's got to go. Let's do it now. And I was like, do it. He'll be great. He'll be better off without it. And he is. But it's just that sometimes they're just like, they try to put a Band-Aid on things, and it's like, no, we have to look at it bigger, like he's not just going to die. He doesn't need to die. He needs support. And, it's so hard to find that sometimes, or, sometimes, because we advocate so hard that, vets kind of get, like, oh, what do you know? And it's like, but I want to save him. I don't care. Like, think of something. What could we do? And sometimes they get about that too. And it's not about being, I want you to help me, I want you to help me help the kitten, and help the cat that, is in my care. I think that's what's really important, is just being more comfortable. They need to be more comfortable to say, hey, look, I know I got this off the street. I don't know either, but can we work together and figure it out? Is really impactful.
Yeah. Right. There are some of the issues within in vet school, and even in tech school even, is that you get like this really short lesson in like neonates, and even like a shorter lesson in like pediatrics. And then from like 6 weeks on, everything else like just opens up, and it's like, we need to teach you about everything. So it's really important that, when you're actually, speaking to your vet about this, and, building that confidence of like, hey, what can we do? And, I'm not going to take no for an answer. I think it's really cool that you guys keep pressing for that, because we need to be challenged more in veterinary medicine. We like to be challenged. And it should be a welcoming challenge to actually work with the smaller, more delicate cases, is what I want to say, because they do take a lot of patience and a lot of monitoring, because you're like, oh gosh, if we treated it and it's like, and it passed away, it's like, was it something because of what we did? And it's like, well, if you look at it that way, if you didn't do anything, it might have died anyway. And so that's some of the stuff that I get back from the foundation. And I've actually gotten some nasty grams on my own saying that, these cats have been like little like science experiments, how could you do that? And it's like, well, what if we could have cured something? Or what if we found out that this animal really has something very wrong with it? And there's got to be more out there like him. What can we do and share with the community? And that's one of the reasons why, I've been working with Basepaws with Egbert and Francis to try to figure out, like, I'm stuck. What is going on with these guys? And I think, not just using veterinary medicine, but other outlets such as like, DNA and everything like that, to try to figure out what's going on with these guys, to kind of build a better relationship. So medicine isn't as wary with these little kittens and stuff on working with them. I know everything wants to be in a scientific manner, and they want to see studies and everything else. Well, no one's going to do these massive studies on these kittens. I mean, everything has to sometimes be through experience and anecdotal. So, hopefully in the future, maybe in the next 5 years, you guys won't have to beg as much for veterinary care with these little kittens. It's going to be, everybody's just going to keep evolving to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. I will say the best, sorry. the best luck I had with anybody was with my SPCA, because Mira came to me as a foster initially, and I was asked to bring her home. She was only 4 weeks old. She literally weighed 4 ounces with her sister and her mom, and just to bring them home to die in a house instead of a cage, because they didn't think there was anything that could happen. The babies couldn't feed off their mom because they were so sick. But I kept her going. Like, I syringe fed her milk, and I cleaned her nose, and I, literally every hour on the hour I was up and I was helping her. And I went back to the SPCA and I was like, she's still alive. Like 2-3 days later, is there something we can do? No, she's too young for meds. I go back 3 days later. Is there something we can do? Like, can you give me something for her? And they're like, you know what? Screw it. We'll give you I think it was doxycycline. I don't know. It's something for a respiratory infection anyway. They're like, just do it. And what's it going to hurt? And that's what ended up saving her life. And so, I mean, from somebody who they thought wasn't going to live a week, here she is now 3 years old. Yeah, she's got a lot of issues, but she is the happiest cat on the planet.
Right. And I think what a lot of shelters and rescues need to realize is that they really depend upon the fosters. And I think they really need to take better care of their foster families. I'm always an advocate for, anybody who fosters. You guys have just as much of emotional toll taken on you as those of us in veterinary medicine. We have that thing that, not one more vet, et cetera, internet bullying and stuff. You guys deal with the same thing. And I think we can't do our jobs without you guys, especially when it comes to working at the shelters and rescue groups and everything. That everybody needs to not just take care of the animals, but we need to take care of each other. And, it's really important that you advocate for each other. So when you had somebody at your shelters like, you know what, let's just do it. That was them finally being like, maybe she's on to something. Maybe we really need to advocate more, and then, hold your hand a little bit. And I think that's really, really needed with our community. And I feel like saying sometimes in the foster communities, we actually take care of better of each other at times than we do in the veterinary community.
I would agree with that for sure. I think that I'm very lucky here in Orlando, especially. We do have a lot of private rescues as well as, fostered for our government groups or whatever. But we are, I have a really good group of people here. And I know on top of just you, Ellen, like sometimes I'll text them at 11:30 at night and I'm like, oh crap, like I'm out of this and I need this. Like who has a 3-5 feeding tube, because I just used my last one and I apparently didn't order any because I'm sleep deprived for the last 7 months. But it's like you have to take care of each other. And I think that especially when you deal with the neonates and the preemies, like the amount of times that I've had people give me preemies and be like, well, I mean, I guess if they live, call me. I was like, what? What do you mean you guess if they live? Like, you're giving them to me. These are now my responsibility to help them to grow. So therefore, I need the tools to be able to help that. And that's why I think that, even being able to teach each other things. Like, I was in fostering for a long time before anybody was like, hey, you should probably learn how to tube feed. And looking back, the amount of probably neos and preemies that I could have saved had I known that is exorbitant. And, now the first sign of decline in a lot of my guys, that's something that I go to. I'll be like, okay, you have to eat, because otherwise here's our long list of things that can piggyback off of that. And I think that being able to have a community of fosters that talk to each other and can learn from each other outside of just veterinary medicine is important, even down to like, hey, did you know that you can get like this medical book, you can pirate it offline and you have 700 pages of information that you can look at in the middle of the night when you need something and things like that. And just be able to bounce information off of each other. And especially here in Florida with kitten season all year round, I think that it's like, if it's in November, a lot of fosters are like, oh, I've had one neonate for the last 2 months. And I'm like, I have 3 full incubators sitting in my foster room right now. Like, so I think that it's so important that we work together and less of this online judgment for that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could talk to you guys for another hour or two. I was given until exactly 7:05 to host this panel. And it is 7:05. Time went by so fast. And look at all of the comments that we have gotten. We're going to have to scroll back through them and actually read the whole entire chat forum. Thank you so much for joining me today. again, thank you so much for attending Basepaws Summit. You guys are amazing. And there's going to be, I believe, one last panel. So stick around to listen to the last talk for the night. And again, I mean, we could not do this without you. And thank you so much. We're going to be saving so many more kittens in the future.
Thanks, Ellen.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Guys.
Bye-bye.
Guys.